What's up, friends? Welcome back to another episode. This is your host, Niels Klement, and today we're talking about a concept that makes you overcome feeling bad about your progress. So, I thought I'd make it a little more open formatted type session because I just tried to edit a video which I recorded previously, and the stuff I said in it didn't really make sense, so I wasn't able to make a coherent video out of it without re-recording it. So I thought, fuck it, I'll do a chill one tonight. And so I got some fresh tea here. Yeah, right, tea. Nielsen tea is something we don't see a lot, but recently I need to, drive down caffeine a little bit so it hits more in the morning and I can, actually use the nootropic for the better instead of just not sleeping like I have been the last 2 weeks. But that's not the topic for today. We wanted to talk about a concept which is very important to me, which I need to remind myself of a lot, because I struggle a lot with feeling like I didn't do shit yet, or anything I do is very, very insignificant. I'm not sure about you. Maybe you feel the same sometimes. There's also this kind of imposter syndrome vibe with it, where you feel like a fraud when other people praise you for what you have done already. You feel like it's not earned. You didn't really earn the praise. And I feel a lot like it, and especially when I, try to create a YouTube video. Just the situation I just described to you was really again a point where I felt that extremely, where I felt like, damn man, you're doing a lot every day, but it's not really reaping a reward. And some might call that type of thinking impatient, but I think it's just a typical case of looking at things from the wrong perspective. Because in a nutshell, you can have a few outlooks on life, obviously. And I like to use the analogy of a zoom. You can either zoom in or zoom out. And to me, everything feels very slow when I'm zooming in. So each day I do a little output reflection where I sit down at the end of each day and try to think about and write down what I have created today. Like what one thing I did, or which activity did get me a little closer to where I want to be. And that often feels very insignificant, or even worthless at times. And the key to overcoming that actually is to take on another perspective, to zoom out. To use that analogy again, it's really, Jack Butcher once created this beautiful illustration of it, where there's a graph and around it there are squares which represent a scope, a certain scope you can in which you can look at, from which you can look at the graph. And if you take the smallest one, the graph doesn't really look like growth. If you take the biggest one, you see a graph that represents exponential growth. And I think that really holds true to life. And I really need to remind myself of that fact. Because I'm sure you guys have Snapchat. I do too, obviously. And when I look at my memories from like 3 or 4 years ago, probably, I really feel great about myself. I really feel, damn man, look how far you've come. If I compare myself today to myself yesterday, I think, god damn man, how slow are you actually? And that exactly is where the analogy of the zoom hits different. If you zoom out and look at the scope of 4 years, it looks great. The graph looks like exponential growth. If you zoom in, and from today to yesterday, or yesterday to today, it's like the closest you can get probably. It looks very, very insignificant. And in that thought, I can really find peace. I can really calm down and be a little more happy with the things I create, with the things I do each day. And it sometimes comes down to just reminding yourself of that fact. It's like these mental models that you collect, which you can apply when you face this issue, for example. It's not the first time that I've felt that I felt things are moving too slow, or what I do is very, very insignificant. And it's not the first time that I derived from that mental model of this zooming in and zooming out. But reminding yourself of such mental models is at least as important as learning them. And so that's for example also why I do these illustrations on Instagram. It's basically just trying to internalize such ideas so I can use them more often. So I really encourage you to try that too. I'm not sure if you deal with the same thoughts once in a while, but it's really comes down to zooming in or zooming out, and you choose which perspective to take on. And I should choose the zoomed out version a little more. Now, with all that zooming in and zooming out, there are other things that change in significance dependent on the perspective you take on. For example, overall significance of life, significance of relationships, all that good stuff. But that's kind of more for different episode, I think. So yeah, that's my quick ramble on zooming in or zooming out. And to keep the structure, which I said 2 episodes ago, shout out consistency. The problem we're trying to solve in this episode is feeling bad about your progress. And the solution is very, very simply to just zoom out and take into account a few years, not just a few days, not just a week, not just a month, but a few years. And if you continue from now on, you'll soon be able to zoom out like 10 or 12 years, and then probably shit hits different. So yeah. And now I said I'm going to end each episode with a philosophical joke. So I'm trying to stick to it. Here's one that's always true. Life. Okay, crazy. Thank you for listening. If you like my rambles on philosophy and self-actualization, go subscribe and follow this podcast, and please leave a review if you liked any of it. or if you could take away something at least. Thanks for listening. See you soon.